Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels.
Laura here.
Hey, well, if you're tired of watching videos on Lake Chapala and Ajijic and San Antonio and areas around Lake Chapala Lake, well, we want to introduce you to San Miguel Allende. It's not a new community at all. In fact, it may be the first or it's the second largest expat community in Mexico. What do I mean by an expat? Meaning where foreigners live. And so it makes it very convenient, Lori.
Yeah, San Miguel is beautiful place and little bit of hilly, but it's beautiful and a lot of expat was living there.
Yeah, so we're going to introduce you to two gentlemen that will give us their insights and see why they chose San Miguel. Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels, and today we're going to interview Michael. And Michael has been a resident of Mexico for 15 years. And give us a little background on where you are from originally and you know, your history here in San Miguel and how you like it here.
Okay, well, first let me introduce my dog Sparky. Who's the love of my life. I came here from San Francisco. I wanted to retire, but anybody who's been in San Francisco knows that it's impossible unless you're a multi-millionaire. So anyway, we researched places to come for comfortable living on a limited salary and income. And San Miguel turned out to be the perfect spot for us. Came here 15 years ago, planned to retire, rented for about a year. So we decided to look at a place to possibly buy. A friend of mine in the class said, before you do anything, talk to my architect. He's building this amazing house for us and see what he thinks about this place. So we did. He came over, he looked at the house, took me outside. He said, Michael, we have a saying in Mexico. It's a lot more fun to make a baby than resurrect the dead. So I think I got it. He thought, no, this house isn't going to work. So he knew of a piece of property right up the street from here.
Michael, let me ask you a question here. What advice would you give somebody who wants to come down, you know, to Mexico or San Miguel? You know, what should they do? What would be some things that you've learned over the years?
You know, when I came here, I had no idea where I was going to end up because I stopped along the way. I was driving, stopped in Puerto Vallarta, Guanajuato, and Ajijic, but none of those places appealed to me. I think I would advise anybody who's got a little bit of an adventurous spirit, if they have an inclination to either learn Spanish or maybe they have a little bit of Spanish from their high school days. It's really helpful, although there's so many English speakers here, it's not totally necessary. But it really makes a difference if you want to become part of the culture here. Yeah. So my advice is go for it. Because I tell you, I just came back from the U.S. I was in San Diego for a week. I don't know how people afford to live there. It's so expensive compared to Mexico and San Miguel.
What would you say, percentage-wise, living down here versus living up north?
Percentage-wise?
That you're saving, or?
God, yeah. I mean, there are people that live here on their Social Security. You couldn't pay for breakfast on your Social Security in San Diego.
Or San Francisco.
I also lived in San Francisco. So my advice, if you're a little bit adventurous, you want to try another culture, but it's a culture that's not totally unfamiliar with people living in the States because there are so many expatriates here. And if you're getting involved in not-for-profit, for example, if you're an artist, if you're a photographer, a writer, there's so many things to do. And it's a very healthy environment because we walk a lot, you don't really need a car, and it's just a lot of fun. Everybody's smiling. It's got a lot of positive energy.
Right. Well, thank you, Michael. This has been very helpful and
you're welcome.
Giving our YouTube viewers some information.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was a great interview. And we enjoyed interviewing people, as you see. We hope that these little interviews have helped you. We hope that they bring value to you on your research on, you know, living in another country and excitement of living in another country, like we have found here in Mexico. Now, would you do us a favor? Do us a big, 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 big favor. Would you subscribe? Why do we want them to subscribe, Lori?
Well, if you subscribe, you get a video free every week, and also give me the energy to go make another video for you.
Yeah, so we do it free of charge. And so by you subscribing, us see the numbers go up. We don't get paid for it, but it just gives us a little encouragement that we feel there are people out there that are listening, they're making comments, and they're getting value from our videos. So all you need to do is press on my little face. I should be about right there. Yeah, right there.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it's up there. And you'll be subscribed automatically. That's it.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to introduce you to Ron here, and we're in San Miguel. And Ron, with the political situation, up north in the United States, and you live down here, you mentioned 6 months a year. What do you like about San Miguel?
My wife and I came here about 5 years ago, and we traveled many places in Mexico, but we had never really explored the central mountainous part of Mexico. So what we started really enjoying about San Miguel is that there's lots of like-minded people here for us to become friends with. People seem to be more open. I don't know if they're reinventing themselves or just feel more comfortable, but it's very common to meet people on the street. And
Like we met.
exactly, and then you ask a few questions, pretty soon you find their favorite restaurant, or you find their very favorite entertainment in San Miguel, and then that leads you to discover other places that maybe you haven't been. So I think one of the big draws here is it's a large artist community. Our large art community, and if you have any artistic interest or talent, it can be developed or enriched here.
Like art classes.
Art classes, painting classes. Personally, I started building a classical guitar here in San Miguel about 4 years ago. There's a very accomplished luthier that gives classes to gringos and Mexicans or whoever's interested in that type of project.
Now, what about the cost? What do you think, in the sense of on a monthly basis, let's say difference between here and the States? What would the cost be? Would you the
I'm
savings?
from the Bay Area of California,
expensive.
and San Miguel is probably 60% cheaper.
60% cheaper.
There are some things that are more expensive. Luxury items. Anything that has a cord attached to it
Right,
is a little
right.
more
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
One of the things that I enjoy is not needing to have a car to live here.
Okay, great.
That saves a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you're, trapped in the city.
Right.
If you want to go to Ajijic, my wife and I just visited there about 3 months ago.
Okay.
Some friends were staying. So we took the bus, and it took about 4 hours.
Now, are you renting a house here?
Currently, we're in a 1-year lease.
When you're
And the last 4 years, we've been renting for about 6 months, because as I said, our tourist visa expires, we have to leave.
okay.
And then we come back. We've stayed at this one place for 3 years,
Okay.
and that was recently sold.
Okay.
Real estate is becoming very popular here.
Now, what do you pay for rent a month?
Well, depending on the neighborhood, obviously Central is more expensive. You get a little bit further out, Guadiana or Guadalupe. We currently live in Independencia. We have a really nice 2-bedroom apartment with three different terraces on one level,
Wow.
and we pay $1,000.
Okay.
And that includes all the utilities and maid service.
Okay.
So we,
Yeah. Imagine your wife likes to have a maid.
it is nice. We're not really, cluttered. We don't clutter the place up too bad. So I think our housekeeper enjoys us to that extent.
Right. And what about medical down here?
Medical, if you become a permanente, you can enroll in the local Mexican health insurance. I'm not really familiar with that. What we've done in order to, let's say, prepare for an emergency is write down a couple of numbers for emergency services.
Now, what about just in general? Let's say private hospitals. I know in Guadalajara they have 5-star private hospitals. How is it here?
Well, we have gone to the hospital in Querétaro for some, a second opinion.
Right, yeah.
And we found it, very convenient. And there weren't really long lines. We made an appointment, and a few minutes after that time, we were talking to the doctor. And they speak good English. My wife does speak Spanish. I'm still a student. And I think that if you have ongoing medical conditions,
Right.
you may want, there's a couple of healthcare, what do you call them, consultants in San Miguel that are tied into the whole medical structure here. And to answer more specific complex questions, you could find those people on the civil list. This is a Yahoo group, and it currently has about 9,000 members, and it's specifically about San Miguel. So if you have questions, health questions, questions about living here, or certain types of foods that you may require for your diet, you can ask them on the civil list, and you're not getting necessarily the professional answers. You're getting people's experience.
Right. Okay.
And from there, if you want to get a more professional opinion, you can make the steps.
Now, what about in let's say in the next 5 years or so? You see yourself living here full
I
time?
think this is going to be a good home base for us because we can travel other areas that we're interested in and still fly to the Bay Area. So we're close to our kids and family. We have to get back.
Right. Yeah, that makes it convenient. It's a centrally located place. You can then fly out, do trips, see your family from here. Well, good. This has been great. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing the information about San Miguel. And your thoughts on it. You've given us a lot of good information.
Okay, Jerry.
Thank you.
Exciting new program, a private phone conversation.
We're excited about offering you a new program that is just going to come out, and it is a program where you can have actually a private conversation with me, a 50-minute private conversation, and it's going to be so we can answer your questions specifically that you have. A phone consultation is going to cost a fee, but I'm getting feedback from people who have used our services, and they're telling me how much we have saved them in time and money, travel expenses. So step in front of the line, sign up. Right now, we are only taking a limited amount of callers, and we want to offer each one of you the first opportunity to take advantage of this service.
You see my picture at the bottom right? Just touch on it. You'll be subscribed absolutely free. Also, every Friday, 5 p.m. California time, we have a new video for you.